tonight's demo is going to be about fall leaves, which I know as one-stroke painters, we can do very simple, basic stroked leaves. But using the one-stroke loading technique, I'm going to show you how to create some of our more traditional looking fall leaves, like maple leaves and what are the others here? We've got maples, oaks, redbuds, hickory, sassafras, right? So those are some of your more colorful leaves when it comes to the fall colors. So those are going to be what I provide or share with you in my demo. And I'm excited to do that. So let's get overhead and get going. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so I've got colors all set out here. Let's bring this over a bit. All right. And my husband is working on processing my videos to put up all my demos he pulled down off of Facebook, and we're putting all the previous ones up on my YouTube channel very soon. So he's been coaching me on what I need to be doing a little different, a little better, not just for you guys, but also for him. So, all right, so this was a picture that I found on the internet of just a stock photo of a bunch of different leaves, but I wanted to share with you, you know, what we're going to be using for our models. All right, so we've got some maple leaves here. We've got, I believe this is a hickory leaf, and sassafras, it looks like this one. Okay, but they have 3 different shaped of leaves. Did you know that? A sassafras tree has 3 different shapes of leaves. And then we have the red buds, which are kind of like this right here, which is a little bit more of an aspen, but it's close. And then I will share with you the oak leaf, but I'm going to give it a little more oomph to its curls and curves. Okay. All right, so let's get here, and I'm going to take a pencil first. And we're going to sketch out, so let's come down just a little closer, and I'm going to sketch out what these leaves look like. Okay, so first of all, we're going to do a maple leaf. All right, so a maple leaf has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Okay, so if you form a wide V right here, right, I'm going to make this darker so you can see it. All right, so this is the stem. Okay, so this V, and then I'm going to pull out the veins. Oops, they come from this same spot, not from up there. Okay, and then this one goes all the way to the tip right there, and then we have this one comes here, and this one comes out there. So if you make it perfect, we have this point right here that is the tip of the leaf, and sometimes it has a couple extra points coming off of it like that. It might even come up like this. For you Canadians, I'm sure you can all do perfect maple leaves, right? And then we come down here and back out, and we come up to a point and back down to a couple more points. Then we scoop in and come out to a point like that. Okay, and so then mirror that on the other side, right? Ha ha. Doesn't have to be perfect, guys. That's all we're doing, is going for the impression, for the basic look. So we've got that scoop right in here, and we come out to this point, and then we have a couple smaller points, and then we scoop back in, come out to the point, and back down. Okay, so maybe not so far in here. There we go. Okay, now that's a pretty detailed maple leaf. You could eliminate all those points and just go one here, one here, one here, one here, one here. Okay, so just so you know. All right, so all these veins go right out to the points. See that? And I'm using this right here as my example. Okay. There we go. And so I want this to be more of a gentle curve. Okay, so that's our maple leaf. Okay, so then we have a maple leaf. That's this one. We're going to do an oak leaf next. So get all these sketched out and then we'll paint them, and I got my paints all set up right here. So an oak leaf has rounded tips, right? And so I'm going to create the top tip, and then I'm going to come back down with the stem. And then with each of these tips, some of them have more emphasis on each of them. There's so many varieties of traditional oak leaves. Down south here we have live oaks that have the skinny little leaves, and they don't turn a very pretty color. So I got a little big on that one, so I'm going to come in a little more on that. Okay, and you can do 3, 4, 5, however many you would like to do. Let's bring that in a little more too. Okay, so once I get the side the way I like it, then you can come in and do this mirrored on the other side. Oops, that's a little big. And down to the end. Okay, so you get it kind of the basic sketch done, and then you can make some adjustments. Right, so here, there we go. Okay, and then again, from this main stem, each one of these has a vein that goes out to these. Okay, so I just did 3 on each side and 1 on the tips so that it wasn't too complicated. You could get more in and outs for it if you wanted to. So, okay, so a sassafras leaf is, sometimes they look like mittens, sometimes they're straight and narrow, and sometimes they have 3 points. I'm going to do the 3-pointed one. So it has a point right here in the middle, and then it has a point here, and a point here, and then they sweep down. Now this needs to come up. This is bigger. This needs to come way up here. There we go. That's better. All right, and then down to the tip. Okay, and then again we have these veins that come out here and up like that. Okay, so hopefully there we go. You can see those. And then we have, let's see, red buds. Red buds have heart-shaped leaves, okay? And they have a very pretty rounded shape like that, and they get kind of yellowish red heart shapes. Right, and then we have the hickory. Okay, so hickory is more of your straight, kind of long, narrow. And actually, they've got, they're not, no, that's not the one I'm thinking of. Hickory is not long and narrow. They are more jagged, okay? So they are wide at the base, and they get jagged as they come out to the tip, and then jagged back down to the base, like that. Okay, so those are all the leaves we're going to do tonight. And I encourage you, you can go out and look on Google Images or any website out there that shows fall leaves, and you will get just all kinds of wonderful ideas. My favorite is this. I'm not quite sure how to create that with paint, but boy, is that cool looking. That's a kind of a maple. And then you have all your Japanese maples, which I would love to paint too, but they're so spiny looking, I don't know how I would do that with a brush. Okay, so let's get to painting with these. And there we go. So let me just share with you the colors that I have out here, because I've got quite a few. I have apple red, berry wine, burnt umber, pure orange, pueblo, daffodil yellow, citrus green, sap green, wicker white. And then I have floating medium right here in the middle. Okay, and I'm going to use a variety of different size brushes. I think the biggest one in this case I'm going to work with is a 16 to do this one. Okay, so let me get my 16 flat damp, and we're going to start here with the maple. Maple can have so many different colors to it, guys. I'm going to start though with some red and some orange. All right, so I'm going to grab red right here on the corner of my brush. I'm going to come right over here and side load orange. Okay, a little more red. Okay, now little medium, since I'm going to be on paper. And then what I want to do next is I'm going to just side stroke a little bit of white on that orange edge, just to give it a little bit of a light brightness. Okay, so let's come down here to my maple leaf. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, I'm going to grab a 12 flat, and I'm going to pick up a bunch of this apple red, just grabbing it on my chisel edge of my brush, and I'm going to stroke this in to pull. So starting from the inside, and I'm pulling it out about 2/3 of the way out into the leaf. Okay, and just leaving it loose on the edge when I pull it out, so I don't want hard lines out there. This way I won't have to try quite so hard to create the shape. I just have to go around the perimeter with my colors. Okay? All right. So now with my loaded brush and my light color to the outside edge, let me move my plate out of the way, and I'm going to shift this slightly. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to start on this chisel edge right here, and we're going to push down and come out to that point and come back in. So reverse direction. Come back out, out, out to that point. And that's about as far as I can get before I run out of colors. So I'm just going to go back and pick up the same colors I was using. Okay. So hopefully you can see that pretty well. I want to back up just slightly so that you can see the brush movement. So here, here, there. And when you're sketching, you want to do it much lighter than I did. I emphasized and darkened that so you could see it on the camera. Okay, so as I'm stroking here like I just did, I went out to this point, and I'm moderate pressure on my brush, and as I come back I'm going to slide down into that red slightly, just to give a little bit of light color coming into that leaf. Okay, keep working with the same colors, picking up fresh, side stroke that white. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go point, point, and up to the tip. Now I can come reverse direction and come back down. I lost my white, my light edge, so I'm just going to come get a little bit more. There we go. What looks nice on leaves as well as flower petals is you don't put the same light color going all the way around. You put it here and there, and that will make them look like there's a little more movement in the leaf, like it's got some curls or curves to it. Okay, so let me get a little more of that white. There we go. I just don't want the white coming into my red, because then I get pink. And I don't want pink in my fall leaves. Out to the point, and back down. Turn your paper a little bit. See how pretty that's starting to look? The problem with an orange color is that it is a transparent color. It's not a problem, but it's just something to be aware of. So that's part of why you want to not do your pencil lines quite so hard. Little push there so I can get that red over. Okay, grab a little more of that white. We'll start here. Push out, stand up, come back. Out, out, come back, curve, out to the point, reverse direction, and come back to the beginning. Okay, so now we've got a very pretty okay, so now you can come back and maybe emphasize some of those curves and curls if you want. Take some of that glare off. And then here's a fun thing that you can do while you've got this kind of wet. Wipe off the brush, come here and side stroke a little bit of yellow on that orange edge. Okay, and you can come right in here and maybe we emphasize some yellow on this part only. Right, so you look at some of these leaves and like the picture I showed you, it has lots of variation in color in one leaf, right? So maybe a little yellow here and pull that back. You see how pretty that's getting to be? Now with that same yellow, or you could use burnt umber if you want to make it darker, I can come in here and pull on the chisel, pull my stem up through the middle of the leaf. I don't go all the way to the tip because by the time it gets to the tip it's very thin and we want it to just kind of disappear. Okay, and then we're going to come in here and pull one out to that point and one out to that point, here and here. Okay. Now there's lots of little extra veins in there. If you want to come in, you could do a few of those very softly. They look very pretty when you do that. Okay, so that's a maple leaf and some of the, oops, there you go, and some of those colors. Okay, let me clean that brush. You don't have to clean the brush. I could have just wiped it off. And let's come over here to our oak leaf, all right? Now, oak leaves tend to be a little more in the tans and golds colors. And one color I don't have out here that I think I want is some yellow ochre. Okay, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that out. There we go. I got all these colors and I don't have the ochre. Okay, so what I want to do with this one, I'm going to double load this with the berry wine and yellow ochre. Still working with my 16 flat. All right, and now there we go. Now what I want to do on my berry wine is I'm going to come in here and add a little bit, oops, I don't want to get into that red, a little bit of, oh, did get it, let me wipe off that corner. Let's get a little bit of that burnt umber, we'll come back over here instead. Okay, so I'm working this burnt umber into my berry wine, darkening it a little bit more. Okay, all right, so now what I want to do, just like we did with, I'm going to add a little bit of floating medium to that too. Just like we did with the maple, okay, we're going to start, but in this one I'm going to start up here. Actually, let's do like we did before. I'm going to get some berry wine and a little bit of this brown, and we're going to come right up the middle and pull that out. Berry wine and brown. This is going to be a deep red color. So we're going right up the middle and pulling it out into these little fingers on the leaf. Okay. Now we'll come with this now. So I'm going to come start up here at the top, and we're going to, oops, let's come down so you can see it. We're going to, with gold on the outside edge, go around that curve, and then around this curve. And when you come in, you can even do a little bit of a roll. Can we get a little more color? Roll that out. Out. Okay. And then, let me get a little more brown on there. Let's come through here again, roll that out, and then we're going to stand it up on the chisel, sliding back down to the point. Okay. Now on the other side, let's come and side load just a little bit of white on that yellow ochre edge. Right, we can work that in over here. A little bit of white. All right, we're just going to lighten that yellow up slightly. Okay, and now we're going to work this side. So I'm going to come right in here. Let me tip this slightly so you can see it. We're going to slide down, pressure, push the yellow out to that curved edge, come back. I don't get nearly enough paint on my brush. There we go. And push it back out and stand it up here. Okay, then I need a little more color on my brush. But you see how I can't come all the way back into the middle, and so that's why I filled in the center first with this size brush. But this is the right size brush for this size leaf. You just have to kind of fill in the middle, okay? There we go. All right, so if you have heavy paint, like you can just kind of see there's a little bit of heavy paint in the center, you can just smooth that out with the corner. Okay, there we go. All right, now same thing as I did before with the maple. I can come in here and let's see. Let's get, maybe side load a little bit of the Pueblo. And we can add a few darker areas, right? So it just gives the leaf a little more character if you have lighter or darker areas, okay? Side load a little more white, and maybe right here, we emphasize that curve. See that? So chisel, push it down, and then back out into the curve. Right, so you're adding just a few little highlights. Get a little bit more of that white. All right, so now it looks like those little curves are raised up a little above the flat part of the leaf. Okay, now because the center is so dark, we want to do a light stem. All right, so chisel edge with the yellow ochre. We're leading with the berry wine, dragging the yellow ochre behind, and we're going to pull this all the way up like that. And then little chisel edge strokes coming off there into each of these little curved areas. Right? And there's your oak leaf. Isn't that pretty? Now that's really bright on that center, so if you didn't want to make it quite so bright, you could have toned it down a little more with some burnt umber. Okay, so we got our maple and our oak leaf. Those are pretty. Okay, so now let's look at our red bud. The red bud, like I said, is one of your brighter red colors for leaves, and it is the shape of a heart. So I'm going to take my 16 in this case, and I'm going to load it with all apple red. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to side stroke some citrus green. So apple red, and we're going to side load citrus on that red. Okay, that's going to tone that citrus down because it's a fall color. We don't want it too bright. Okay, and you can do red on the outside or green on the outside. I like to do green in this case. It'll kind of brighten up those edges. Okay, so let's turn this a little bit. There we go. And so you can, these are not necessarily rippled, not like our heart-shaped leaves for our roses. They're smooth, so you're going to stand it up like that. And then the other side, so you're bringing that green edge around. Let me get a little bit more. And let me just side stroke just a little bit of white on that green edge for this side. And blend that out. A little streaky still. So we're blending it out and we're bringing that green all the way to the bottom. And let me restroke that because I didn't have enough red. There we go. So you're bringing that green all the way around and then standing it up to the bottom. Okay. And if you want to do the ripples, you can, but do soft ones. Do just a few. And maybe you can roll it. Get a little bit of white on that. Roll it like that. And then stand it up. Okay, so you just get a little bit of a highlight there. All right, and then pull your stem into the middle like that. That's a simple one. All right, let's look at our sassafras. Now, sassafras is going to be more of your gold colors. And in this case, I'm going to use my 3/4 flat. Okay, so let's get that one out. We'll get that damp. And I'm going to load here with some, I'm going to combine. So we've got yellow ochre. Let's back up just a hair. That's really close. Yellow ochre, and then I'm going to come over here and get some daffodil yellow. So grab yellow ochre and combine or blend with some daffodil yellow. Okay. And then I'm going to come over next to my burnt umber and we're going to side stroke some of that right into the yellow. So daffodil, yellow ochre, and we're side stroking the burnt umber. Okay. All right, so our sassafras, we're going to come down here to our middle leaf right here. Thank you, Miss Brenda. So we're going to slide out from the base, stand up to the tip, reverse direction, come back. And then we're going to come from that point, push hard, stand up to the tip, slide back down. I just got medium and it's still drying on me. There we go. Corner, I'm just going to pull that in, and then here, push, come back down to the beginning. Okay, so you got that pretty gold in the center and just kind of brown outside edge. So let's do that again. We're going to come out to the point, reverse direction, out to the point, reverse direction, out to the point, reverse direction, come slide back down to the center. Okay. All right, and then with the chisel edge and leading with the yellow, I'm going to pull brown into the center. just like that. Okay, so we've got some very unique looking colors here. And now the last one I'm going to do is the hickory. And hickory, I've seen them in reds and I've seen them in yellows. And since I just did a yellow, I'm going to show you what a regular hickory leaf is going to look like, and then I'll show you what a fall version will look like. Okay, so regular color, I'm just going to double load my sap and my citrus. Get a little medium on there. All right, so I'm going to stroke out and we're going to make little chisel bumps out, out, out. So I'm up on my chisel, coming out to that tip. Okay. Now you can reverse direction and come back this way if you're comfortable, or you can come back here and go up this way. All right, let's for ease sake, we're going to turn our page and we're going to come right in here. Let me get a little more dark green. There we go. So up on the chisel, come out, make those little serrated edges on the leaf, and then stand up. Okay. Chisel edge, we're going to reverse, we're going to pull the light green in right down the center like that. So that's what a regular hickory leaf would look like. Now, wiping off my brush, I'm going to come and load the red on my dark green. And I'm going to get a little burnt, burnt umber on my other edge, where my light green was. Okay, so red and burnt umber. We're going to get those two shades right there. So we're going to replicate that leaf. I'm going to come right down here, and let's come down a little further right here. So we're going to start on the chisel, push, and we're making little serrated chisel edge strokes out to the point and stand up. And then if you want to reverse and do it, you can come back this way. You just get wider as you come down, and then stand up. Okay, so you've got that kind of light and dark color going on with the edges with the deep red, and I think that is so pretty. Okay, and then you're going to pull that brown stem in there. Now if that doesn't show up, you could come and get a little bit of the Pueblo instead of the brown and pull that in like that, and that'll show up a little better. Now each one of these would have a stem in there, but you don't need to do that because with our wiggling stroke it created that look for us. Okay, so lots of other things and ways you can do these colors, like I said, from this inspiration photo that I found of all these different leaves, all kinds of different combinations you could do. Okay, so that's our fall leaf demo. For our fall leaves, we have a maple, an oak, a sassafras, a redbud, and hickory. So I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for watching.